Hello. This video is a response to a topic on the Ableton Forum that I posted about strategies for using the fade to gray effect. It's in the push discussion section. I encourage you to look it up if you haven't already. So I wanted to find ways to use fade to gray because I like the sound of it, but I was having trouble. Let me play for you what I wanted to do with it so you can understand. I'm sorry for the quality of the sound. Yeah, it is what it is. So here we go. This is what I wanted to hear. Sample bass line without any effect going into it. And this is what I want to kind of do with it. I'm going to do that one more time. Okay, so if you didn't notice, what I was doing was feeding that little bass line thing into fade to gray, letting it fade to gray, and then cutting it off and playing the clean signal back again while the fade to gray, while its tail was sounding. Okay, so it took me a little while to figure this out, how to do that in a live situation. And the way that I just showed you, there's some details about, or rather benefits and disadvantages to a couple of different strategies. So one of the people on the forum, Schmitty, hi Schmitty, nice to meet you, suggested I just make a clip with automation in it that cuts off the fade to gray. And here's the product. The problem with that is that works, but the problem with that is I will show you. So here we go. This is Schmitty's way that he or she wanted me to do. So here we go. I got fading in. All right, cool. That's working. However, because now this is my clip with automation, and I fed it through fade to gray, and now I got the clean. The problem is I have a different clip up here. This bass asleep. This is just a total different bass line. Watch what happens when I click on it. Hardly any sound. Oh no. Yeah, it's not working. That's because this clip without automation, I used that to fade in. And then this clip with automation cleared the fade back down to 0, which is good. Now I have the clean signal. But when I go to another clip that doesn't have automation, that fade will stay high. And so the effect will be working and I won't hear another clip. So I would have to, it would take a lot of juggling in a live situation to try to turn knobs and this and that and switching screens, and it wouldn't be very conducive to making a live show. So that way isn't really a good solution. Unless Smitty, if I'm missing something, if you have other ideas on how to do it, please post. And yeah, because I'm not perfect. I'm sure maybe there is a way. I don't know. But with this way, it works because I can. Here, I'll show you. I'll demonstrate it. Okay. So I have the clean signal, and I'm going to fade in. All right. Let's bring it back. There's the clean signal. And let me put that different clip. That's what that clip sounds like, that different bass line without the fade to gray. And I can fade that to gray if I want. And see, I can go, now I have more control. I can keep better tabs on what signal is wet, what signal is dry. I can do it quickly in a live situation. But there's disadvantages to this method. And I'll show you that in a second. Another thing to point out is that to do what I'm doing here with this way I figured out with fade to gray and how to use it, is I had to create a little effect rack. Let's expand it here. So this effect rack has two strings in it. One is clean and one is with the fade to gray itself. So it involves using a utility and connecting mute to the chain selector. So in my clean one, obviously there's nothing happening, but then in my effects one, in addition to a fade to gray, which is a one knob effect, I had to put in this utility, and I had to route these two buttons to do it. If you want more information on how I did that, I can post a video on that. It's pretty easy, although if you see the setup here, you might be able to just kind of figure it out. It involves making key assignments. Oops, wrong one. Or mapping, making a key mapping. So you can see up here in this area, making the mapping for that macro to make it work. Okay, great. The problem with this method is that I have to turn the fade down manually and the chain selector to get it to work. It's a good method. It works really well, but I kind of wanted to find a way to make it more automated. So in the heat of the moment when I'm performing or trying to do something live, I don't want to think too much about the chain selector and the fade. So I looked into ClyphX and I downloaded it yesterday and I found this way, which is kind of cool. Let me demonstrate it. Okay, so here's my clean signal. And I'm going to do that fade in thing. All right, there we go. And I didn't have to like turn this fade down to 0. It went by itself when I re-triggered the clip, because I used ClyphX actions to do it. Let me show you again. Demonstration. Okay, and I like that. It's just really easy. I don't have to sit here and twiddle with knobs. I just fade in, stop the clip from playing, and then re-trigger the clip, and the fade fades out automatically because of the ClyphX string. So, and the one bad thing about this is that if you noticed, when I use this method, I can include the tail of the effect, but I can't do it with this one, unfortunately. So there's benefits and disadvantages both. This one's faster, simpler, easier, but you're not going to get the tail. This one is still pretty fast. It involves a little bit more work, but you can hear the tail with the clean signal. You can't do that with this one. Or at least I haven't figured out a way to do it yet. So that's my video. I hope you get something out of it. If you got questions, I'm sorry, it's a little early in the morning. My brain isn't working as well as it could. I'm not being the good teacher I could be, but in any case, I hope you got something out of it, and thanks a lot for joining in the discussion. It's nice to meet you all.